Welcome everyone to All Sports Culture's 2020 MLB predictions. My name's Sam and I'm going to be running through my personal 2020 MLB standings, my MVP picks, and my World Series prediction. Now, this season is absolutely nuts. We have no idea how it's going to go. The unpredictability of if a player gets coronavirus and where that team's direction is now headed. Anything can happen. With that being said, I just wanted to say, if your opinion is massively different from mine, I get it totally. But we just have to go based off what we know right now. And that's what I'm going to do here. Don't be afraid to leave a comment of your own predictions. But with all that being said, let's get right into my predictions. I'm going to try and run through these as quick as possible because we have a lot to get through. Starting off with the AL East at number 5, I have the Baltimore Orioles. They suck. At number 4, I have the Boston Red Sox. Now, they have some nice pieces, but their pitching is so suspect. I just don't believe in them at all after the Mookie Betts trade, and, last year you saw them kind of fall apart. At number 3, surprisingly, I have the Toronto Blue Jays. I actually really love where the Blue Jays are headed right now. They got some really nice high upside young players with a good replacement for Stroman and Hyunjin Ryu. But this isn't the year that they put it all together, although I do think that will be very soon. At number 2, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. They're going to sneak into the postseason this season, and the Rays are just really good looking right now. I mean, their current situation with Tampa Bay and Montreal is kind of odd, but it's a shit show. But they definitely have what it takes to be a dark horse World Series contender. And at number 1, this shouldn't be a surprise, I have the New York Yankees winning the AL East. They're the Yankees. Their roster is impeccable, but they somehow mess it up and will get injured somehow. But I do actually have the Yankees finishing second in the AL. Reason being is I think the divisions they're going to play are a lot more difficult than who I have getting the first seed, but ultimately I do think they are the best team in the American League. Moving on to the NL East, at number 5, we have the Miami Marlins. They suck. Let's just move on. At number 4, we have the Philadelphia Phillies. All that money for a .500 record? Man, that's too funny. I mean, too bad your bullpen is just atrocious, but who cares because we got Wheeler. Now we can't pay Real Muto because of that. The Phillies are just confusing, and I just don't have faith in them to put it together. At number 3, we have the New York Mets. I just don't think it's their year. I think they'll take a step back from last year when they put all their eggs in one basket with the Stroman trade. Now they don't have Wheeler. Sorry, Mets fans, but Thor's already out for the entire season, and I just don't believe they're going to match their success from last year. At number 2, I have the Atlanta Braves. Look, I like this Braves team a lot, but I think they're going to start off really slow, trying to make everything work. Apparently, Freddie Freeman's COVID case was just terrible for him, so we don't really know how he'll end up being at the start. And though they upgraded their bullpen, their pitching is still a big question mark. I think they're going to finish second in the East due to those reasons, but I definitely could see a potential deep postseason run out of this club if they manage to work everything out. But the number 1 team I am really high on for this year, and that's the Washington Nationals, who are going to have the second seed. I just think the Nationals have all the momentum in the league. They have one of the best rotations in the sport, and I believe Soto is going to have such a fantastic season. Not having Zimmerman will suck for sure, but I'm more comfortable with them than I am the Braves situation as of right now. They're in real good shape. Trey Turner is one of the most underrated players in the entire sport, where he could hypothetically be healthy for the entire year, unlike last. I think the Nationals will for sure be at the top of the division, with the Braves just not having such a great outlook this year. I have the Nats winning the East, but I would not be surprised if the Braves manage to pull it off. On to the AL Central. At number 5, the Detroit Tigers. They just picked number 1 overall. They suck. At number 4, the Kansas City Royals. Do I really need to talk to you about why the Royals are here? This is the worst division in baseball, guys. At number 3, the Cleveland Indians. This Indians team is just weird to me. They've kind of managed it in such poor fashion with that Kluber trade, and it just I'm not a fan of it. Even though Francisco Lindor could have an MVP type year, him being traded is just inevitable at this point. At number 2, the Chicago White Sox. All right, White Sox, you finally went out and spent money on Yasmani Grandal and Dallas Keuchel. We want to see what you can actually do now. I do actually think they can win some games, but in this weird season, who knows? Maybe they could make some noise, but they could fall short of expectations, which I think is the more likely scenario, but I do think they'll surprise some people. And at number 1, this shouldn't be that big of a surprise. It's the Minnesota Twins, who I actually have obtaining the number 1 seed in the AL. Reason being is this is the worst division in baseball, and they're going to be playing the NL Central, which is going to be a dogfight. And I think with the pieces that they added in Josh Donaldson and Kenta Maeda, it's really going to help out this ascending roster. Can they get it done in the postseason, though? We'll wait and see. Moving on to the NL Central, which I personally think is the most intriguing division out of all of these. There are 4 teams that realistically could win this division, and I would not be surprised at all. At number 5, universally everyone agrees that the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to be here. I don't really need to go in depth in here. They just have a very, lack for a better term, untalented roster. At number 4, we have the Chicago Cubs. I'm going against a lot of people putting the Cubs here. But let's just talk about that shit show of an offseason that they had. They did absolutely nothing. They improved nothing. Ultimately just getting worse than their already very much underperforming roster. Talk about a waste of potential that we've been waiting to see. I just don't see it happening this year with such a weird circumstance. I don't know why so many people keep hyping up this team when time and time again, they just keep showing that they can't live up to it. At number 3, I have the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm a Brewers fan, if you guys didn't know, but I see a down year from Yelich coming. I think with him coming off this injury and it being such a short season, I don't think this team is going to be contender. It's just a lot of utility guys with a kind of weak pitching core. Their bullpen is still awesome, but I just don't see it happening. Yelich is the main guy here. If he has a down year, I think the Brewers aren't in for a postseason success at all. But if he has another MVP type season, like the past 2 years indicate, then yeah, I think the Brewers definitely could come out on top. At 2, we have the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds finally decided to just go all out and try to contend for the postseason. I think they actually have a nice emerging pitching group, but conclusively, they are up in the air. I could see this team catching fire potentially, or just struggling as a whole. We'll see. And at 1, I have the St. Louis Cardinals, who will be obtaining the number 3 seed in the NL. My winner for the NL Central essentially came down to who I believed was in the most decent shape, and that was the Cardinals. If I'm being honest with you, I could see any of the top 4 seeds winning. They have such unpredictable traits to all of them. So I went with the safest choice, but then again, it is not the best division in baseball, but it is one of the closest races. Moving on to the AL West, at number 5, we have the Seattle Mariners. They're kind of a joke at this point. I'm not going to talk about them at all. At number 4, we have the Texas Rangers. Talk about a flame out in free agency. I mean, you got Corey Kluber, I guess, but that doesn't really make up for the rest of your roster's shortcomings. At number 3, I got the Los Angeles Angels. Mike Trout might not even play. And if he's not playing, you're not going anywhere. Ohtani is coming back into the fold, though, and they did acquire Rendon. So they could potentially make something happen. If they're gearing up for a run, though, I just don't think it's this year, sadly, with how many questions are surrounding this team. Will Ohtani come back as how well he was playing before? Will Trout even play? I'm not going to put all my chips in on this team. At number 2, I have the Oakland Athletics, who will be getting the number 5 seed. I still have faith in them. I don't have much to talk about for them. They're just a really underwhelming team, to say the least, and I think they'll crack the postseason. You could make a case for them or the White Sox potentially, but I just don't think the White Sox are there yet. I'm just going to give it to the more experienced roster. And at number 1, we have the Houston Astros. The Asterisks are still the best team in the West, but losing Cole really does hurt their chances. But I mean, anything can happen. even something as crazy as banging a trash can for signs. Oh wait. On to our last division, it is the NL West. And coming in at number 5, we have the San Francisco Giants. I don't want to spend time on the Giants at all, so just let me skip on over them to number 4, which is the Colorado Rockies. This team is just weak. No Ian Desmond. Pitchers just being wasted in Colorado. It's just typical Rocky stuff. I don't know what's going to happen with Arenado. I think he's gone from that franchise sooner or later. The San Diego Padres are coming in at number 3. The Padres are now at the part of their rebuild where results need to start coming in as soon as possible. But with it being such a short season, I just don't see it happening. At number 2, I got the Arizona Diamondbacks, who will sneak their way into the postseason as the 5 seed. I dig the D-backs additions this offseason. Starling Marte and Mad Bum will do fantastic for them, and they showed a lot of promise last season with players like Ketel Marte. So I'm excited for them this season. Now, they're really unpredictable. They were last year, but I have faith in them. I think they can do it. Coming in at number 1, who also will be getting the 1 seed in the NL, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Arguably the best team in baseball. I think they will wipe the floor in the regular season. Do I really need to explain this one anymore? It's pretty universally agreed upon that the Dodgers are going to be at number 1 here. This entire season is just going to be wonky as a whole, with it being 60 games, with a universal DH, and much more unpredictability with the coronavirus potentially taking players out of contest for extended periods of time. But the best we can do right now is go based off what we know. So now I'm going to give you my MVP picks, and who I've winning the NL MVP? That's going to be Juan Soto of the Washington Nationals. I'm on the Soto train this year. I think the Nationals will have such a big year, and he'll be the guy to bring them to winning the NL East. The narrative will be in his favor as well. My second pick would be Ronald Acuna, but with how messy the Braves are looking, I'm hesitant. I'm just really high on this Nationals team, and I think he's going to be the main guy. And for my AL MVP, I have Gleyber Torres of the New York Yankees. I think this guy is going to have an amazing year. He's easily one of my favorite players to watch, and I think he's going to be the next superstar of this league. Now, the easy answer here would be Mike Trout, and I mean, you can't go wrong with that answer, but he might not even play. So I'm not going to pick him. I just think Torres is in for a massive year, and the Yankees are going to be such a good team. Well, and that kind of leads into my World Series. My World Series prediction is the Washington Nationals versus the New York Yankees. I'm just really high on both of these teams' outlooks for this season. I mean, I guess you could tell why, because I have both league MVPs on each respective team. I think the Nationals are in for a great year, and the Yankees arguably have the best roster in all of the sport. It just comes down to who I think can pull off the victory in a 7-game series. And damn it, I am picking the Washington Nationals to win the 2020 World Series. They're going to go back-to-back, in my opinion. This roster has the experience to do it all again, and I think they're gonna. They have the rotation to put the Yankees in a struggle, and the talent to put them over the top. It's just a big hunch of mine. I am really high on certain players from Washington, and I think if the season was a full season, that the Yankees might be my pick. But with it being so weird, I'm having the defending champs keep their crown in the capital of the United States. So those were my predictions for the 2020 MLB season. What did you think? Be sure to leave your predictions in the comments below and why you think I'm wrong. Honestly, as long as your take is in the realm of possibility, I could see it happening because of how crazy this 60-game year will be. Play ball, I guess. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to us here on YouTube if you haven't already, and follow at All Sports Culture on Instagram. I've been Sam from ASC, and I'll see you all in the next one.